The rain had been falling for 3 days straight, turning the desert outside Black Ridge detention facility into a gray, mud-choked wasteland. From the outside, the prison looked like a concrete scar carved into the earth. Windowless towers, razor wire humming faintly with electricity, floodlights cutting through the storm like cold, unblinking eyes. Inside intake corridor C, a woman stood barefoot on the freezing floor. Her name on the paperwork was Elena Ward. Age 48, civilian contractor, detained for suspicion of involvement with hostile networks. No rank, no honors, no flags, just another number. She wore a loose gray detainee uniform now, her clothes already confiscated. Her dark hair, streaked lightly with silver, was tied back in a simple knot. Her face showed no panic, no fear, only patience. The kind that unsettled men who thought they understood PowerPoint. Two guards stood across from her, watching. Eyes down, one of them snapped. Elena lowered her gaze just enough to comply without surrendering dignity. She'd learned that balance decades ago, how to obey without yielding, how to appear small while remaining unbreakable. The younger guard shifted uncomfortably. She doesn't look like the others. The older one scoffed. That's what they all say before the interviews. He tapped his clipboard. Protocol says full strip search before transfer to holding tier 4. Elena lifted her eyes slowly. Calm, measured, observant. Is there a problem? She asked evenly. Her voice carried authority. Not loud, not sharp, but unmistakably steady. It gave a younger guard pause. The older one sneered. You don't ask questions here. You follow orders. Elena nodded once. Of course. If they'd known who she really was, that nod would have terrified them. 6 weeks earlier, halfway across the world, the USS Vanguard cut through the Pacific like a blade. Inside its secure briefing room, flags lined the walls. Screens glowed with satellite imagery, red markers blinking over hostile territory. At the head of the table sat Rear Admiral Elena Ward, United States Navy. Not in uniform today, just a simple blouse and slacks, but every man and woman in the room sat straighter because of her presence. She had spent 30 years in the shadows, former Navy SEAL. Sniper, intelligence architect, the kind of operator whose missions never made headlines, whose decisions shifted wars without fingerprints. She pointed at the screen. Black Ridge isn't just a prison. It's a laundering hub. Intel extraction, human trafficking, off-book interrogations. And someone inside is leaking classified movements. A general frowned. We send drones. Signals teams. Nothing sticks. Because they're watching for us, Elena replied calmly. They know our patterns. A CIA director crossed his arms. So what are you proposing, Admiral? She didn't hesitate. You send me in? The room went silent. Absolutely not, someone muttered. Elena met their eyes one by one. They don't know me anymore. Officially, I retired 2 years ago. No active command. No digital trail. I go in as a civilian contractor caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. The general shook his head. You're a flag officer. I'm also the only one who can survive this, she said. Because I built systems like theirs before they did. A long pause. Finally, the CIA director sighed. If anything goes wrong, it will be my responsibility, Elena finished. As always. That night, she burned her clearance, erased her profile, and disappeared. Back in Black Ridge, the intake room smelled of disinfectant and damp concrete. The older guard barked, proceed with the search. A female officer entered, expression cold, procedural. No cruelty, just routine. Elena complied without protest, moving with deliberate slowness. Not out of shame, but calculation. She memorized the room. Camera angles, blind spots, response time between doors. The female officer paused, frowning slightly. What? The guard demanded. She's got scars, the officer said. Elena met her eyes. Life leaves marks. The officer studied her arms. Thin white lines near joints, old burns, healed fractures. Military scars. Combat scars. The guard waved it off. Plenty of contractors been in rough places. Still, something shifted. They finished the procedure and issued her a wristband. Transfer to Tier 4. The guard ordered. They escorted her down the corridor. Elena felt it, that familiar tightening in her chest. Not fear, readiness. Tier 4 was where people disappeared, and no windows. No clocks. Lights on at all hours. The screams didn't echo. They were absorbed by reinforced walls designed to keep secrets quiet. Her cell was narrow. Concrete slab bed. Stainless steel toilet. A camera blinking red in the corner. The door slammed shut. Elena sat on the bed and exhaled slowly. She had survived jungles, ice storms, firefights where the air itself seemed to scream. She had commanded teams under artillery fire, negotiated with warlords, buried friends without names on their graves. This was just another environment. She closed her eyes and listened. Footsteps. 3 guards per rotation. Keys clinked differently depending on who carried them. One limped. One dragged his boots. Patterns. Always patterns. 3 hours later, the door opened. Interview. A voice called. They led her to a small room with a metal table and 2 chairs. A man in a suit waited inside. Clean, confident, cruel in the way of people who had never been challenged. "I'm Mr. Hale," he said. "You understand why you're here?" Elena tilted her head. "Not really." He smiled thinly. "We know you were in contact with someone you shouldn't have been." She shrugged. "I'm a consultant. People contact me." Hale leaned forward. "You don't look scared." "I've been detained before," Elena replied. "This isn't the worst hospitality." His smile faded. "Let's try this another way," he said. "You cooperate, this ends quickly. And if I don't, alles tut. Then we escalate." Elena held his gaze. "Then I endure." For the first time, Hale hesitated. That night, in her cell, Elena lay awake. She replayed the intake search, the interview, the guards' reactions. They suspected something, but not enough. Not yet. She reached under the mattress and felt the thin seam she'd located earlier. Inside, barely noticeable, was a sliver of polymer, a tracking filament. Phase 1 was working. Across the ocean, in a dark operations room, a satellite pinged that a technician leaned forward. Signal acquired. A general exhaled. She's inside. Her brave stories was built on tales like this. Stories of women the world underestimated, stories of strength hidden in plain sight. And inside Black Ridge, surrounded by concrete and ignorance, the guards had no idea what they had just locked away. They thought she was powerless. They thought she was alone. They were wrong. The first mistake Black Ridge made was assuming silence meant submission. Be why the 4th day, Elena Ward had mapped more than the guards realized. She knew the rhythm of the prison better than some of the men working there. She knew when the cameras glitched for exactly 9 seconds during the power cycle. She knew which guard pocketed his phone during night shift and which supervisor drank himself into carelessness by dawn. Most of all, she knew they were getting nervous. People who ran places like Black Ridge lived on certainty. Control. The belief that everyone inside the walls was smaller than them. Elena was neither. The escalation came without warning. 2 guards arrived at her cell just after midnight. "Up," one said. "No interview scheduled," Elena replied calmly. The guard grabbed her arm harder than necessary. Orders changed. They dragged her down a different corridor this time, one she hadn't seen before. The air felt heavier. The lights dimmered. An interrogation room without cameras. Hale stood waiting, jacket off now, sleeves rolled. His confidence looked forced. "You've been very uncooperative," he said. Elena sat when told. Folded her hands. "I answered everything truthfully." Hale slammed a folder onto the table. Photos spilled out, grainy images of dead men, weapons caches, classified installations. "You expect me to believe a civilian contractor crossed paths with all this by accident?" Elena glanced at the photos, unimpressed. "I expect you to believe what you want." Hale's jaw tightened. "Run another search," he snapped to the guards. Full. The room went still. Even the guards hesitated this time. Elena slowly raised her eyes. "You already did." Hale leaned close. "Then we do it again." For the first time since her capture, something changed in Elena's expression. Not fear, finality. The female officer entered again, her face drawn. This time, her hands shook slightly as procedure began. Up close, she noticed everything. The posture, the balance, the way Elena never shifted weight unnecessarily. "You military?" she whispered under her breath. Elena met her eyes. "Once." That was all she said. But it was enough. The officer stepped back abruptly. "Sir, there's something." Hale cut her off. "Finish it." That was when the officer found it. Embedded beneath the skin near Elena's rib, almost invisible, was a scar with a faint metallic outline that a biometric seal, military grade. The room froze. "That's not civilian," the officer said quietly. Hale stared. "What?" Elena stood slowly, no longer restrained. "You should stop," she said. Hale laughed, but it cracked halfway through. "You think you scare me?" Elena straightened fully, and for the first time, she let her presence expand. "I am Rear Admiral Elena Ward," she said calmly, "United States Navy, and you are currently committing an act that will dismantle your life." Silence swallowed the room. Point one guard took a step back, that Hale's face drained of color. "That's impossible." Elena tilted her head. "Check the seal." The officer did. Her hands trembled as the scanner confirmed it. "Access level. Flag authority." Hale stumbled back in his chair. "You're lying," he whispered. Elena leaned forward. "You have 6 minutes before my signal triggers a full-spectrum response." As if on cue, the lights flickered. Across the globe, alarms erupted, satellites repositioned. Drones alter course. Naval task groups received sealed orders. The filament Elena had planted wasn't just a tracker, the IT was a key. At Black Ridge, chaos unfolded fast, sirens wailed. Doors locked automatically. Guards shouted conflicting orders. Hale grabbed his phone. "No signal." "What did you do?" he screamed. Elena stepped past him, calm in the storm. "I gave my people permission." Armed teams flooded the corridors, but not for her. The guards' own systems turned against them. Cell doors opened. Cameras shut down. Files uploaded automatically to international servers. Evidence. Everything Black Ridge had buried. The warden tried to flee. He made it 3 steps before a wall exploded inward. U.S. Navy SEALs poured in like a force of nature. Silent, precise, unstoppable. They moved past Elena without hesitation. Point one of them nodded. "Admiral." The guard stared, frozen. Hale collapsed to his knees. "You used us," he whispered. Elena looked down at him. "No, you exposed yourselves." She turned as medics and intelligence officers swarmed the facility. Black Ridge fell in under 12 minutes. By sunrise, the prison was surrounded by international observers. Arrests were already happening across 3 continents. Elena stood outside for the first time in weeks, breathing clean air. The female officer who had hesitated earlier approached her slowly. "I didn't know," she said. Elena placed a hand on her shoulder. "You listened. That matters." A helicopter waited. Before boarding, Elena turned back once, looking at the crumbling walls, the broken certainty. Places like Black Ridge thrived on the belief that power was loud, cruel, and male. They forgot something. Real power moves quietly, and sometimes it walks in barefoot. That if you're watching the story on Her Brave Stories, don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories of courage, intelligence, and hidden strength.